Time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo. I'd like to thank you for joining me. On today's show, we're talking reopening. My guest in studio today is Cottonwood Oak Creek School District Superintendent Steve King. Mr. King, welcome on.
Thank you, Phil. I'm glad to see you.
Of course, you're in a very interesting position right now, getting ready to possibly reopen schools on August 17th. So let's start off with this. What is Cottonwood Oak Creek School District's reopening plan?
Great question. So for the last 4 or 5 months, our district has been working very hard looking towards what reopening is going to be like. On March 16th, we closed down as per the governor's order for 2 weeks. That 2 weeks turned into, we're about 5 months right now. So if you're looking at where children are at, all of our planning has gone towards bringing the children back into school and reintegrating them into our programs. The only thing we're capable of doing right now is our online program. So for the last 2 months, we've been working with our staff, our teachers, as well as our curriculum coordinators, as well as our admin, and looking at what our next steps would be for our online program. So when we first came to the school closures, it was a very rushed situation. We had less than about 12 hours notice to put together a program, and our staff came together and they did a fabulous job in putting together an online program, reaching out to families, distributing Chromebooks, finding internet access for some students so that we could at least continue on with our educational program to the best of our ability. But we did recognize that we needed more. So during the closure and then into the summer, we began a lot of research into what we were going to be looking like if we're going to continue our online programs if the closures continued, and in fact those closures have continued. Right now it is on August 17th and we're scheduled to open on August 5th. So we have purchased 2 online programs. One's called Edgenuity and the other is called Let's Go Learn. Let's Go Learn is a supplemental program for special needs students, but Edgenuity is the basic curriculum that we combine with our Google Classroom as well as other materials and connections between our classrooms and our families. So the 3 R's, the new 3 R's for our district are rigor, relevance, and relationships. So we needed to increase the rigor, and I want to stress right now that online is all that we have. So we have to make the best of what we have. We are currently under the governor's closure order until at least August 17th. We do anticipate the governor speaking a little bit later on this week, but if that's all we have, how can we increase our ability to serve our children and to continue their education to the best of our ability? So that's why we added these 2 new programs, as well as our new Google Classrooms, as well as our other platforms that we have moving forward. But it all comes down to relationships, and that's where I think our district is going to differentiate from other online providers where you just go online, you just take care of it. We want to maintain those connections because the overall goal is to bring these children back to school at the earliest possible safe date.
Right.
So our current phase of reopening is we're online currently from August 5th until August 17th. Our online option, we did do a parent survey or family survey towards the end of June. And one of the things that was indicated, there was a strong desire on the part of many families to continue the online programs even after the schools were reopened. There's a lot of concerns out there. There's a lot of real fears out there. And I think people were looking for something a little bit more. So to meet that need, we've also added an online program, our AOI, which is our online institute, where families can stay online for an extended duration. But the key is flexibility the entire process. So if a child goes into one of our online programs, the goal is to bring them back in. So we want to maintain the flexibility where they're not stuck in those. They can come back to our campuses when our campuses are open and we have the capacity to serve.
Now you talk about the August 17th start date. It started out as maybe in the beginning of this year we were going to get through all this COVID stuff by the fall, and everyone was going to start back up normally. We're going to open the state back up. Maybe even the whole world was going to open back up, but it had to adjust. And speaking of adjusting, how did your plan adjust to that new start date for August 17th? I'm pretty sure it was. We've got this plan in place, and then it's oh no, we're going to get pushed back a little more. So how did you guys make those changes? That's
a great question. So at the beginning of the summer, we sent out a communication to our family. We planned for 3 different contingencies, and the first contingency contingencies, we'd be coming back to schools. The second contingency, we'd be able to come back, but with certain restrictions. And the third contingency, that we would be still online. So we had planned for that, and we had those ready, and we do have our online platform ready to go to meet that contingency. Now, if we go into phase 2, where we're allowed to come back with certain restrictions, depending on what that's going to look like, both in our community and our state, on the state of the virus, as far as what our executive orders are going forward, that'll increase our capacity to start serving students within our school system. And we have those plans ready to go as well. And the other piece, of course, is when we come back full time. Now, the fourth contingency that I don't like to think about, but it is still a very real possibility, is that we come back in some shape or form, whether that's part-time or full-time, and then we have to go back into closure. And so that's why maintaining that flexibility between our online platforms and our in-class is so vitally important. And that's what our planning has been done for.
Are you guys going to make up any time lost and move any breaks or shorten any breaks, lengthen any breaks? You guys going to do anything like that, or just kind of roll with the school year as it is?
So right now, our calendar is set. We will begin school on August 5th. That calendar was set back in January and approved by our school board and approved by the Department of Education back in January. So we want to maintain our calendar as close as possible, just for some continuity and to give some people some structure as far as what they can expect to see throughout the school year. So we are not looking to make up extra time, although there's some possibilities and some discussions out there, especially for our youngest learners. How do we actually engage? I mean, you think about kindergartens, I think this is probably one of the most challenging aspects is on the best online programs that you can have do not compare to quality teaching and connections within a classroom, especially with our youngest learners. You know, you look at the kindergartners going in, what is the main purpose of kindergarten? And to me, the main purpose of kindergarten is to get children used to what school is like, getting in those routines, building those relationships, learning how to share. And it's very difficult to do over online platforms. So as we focus and as we look towards reopening, the key thing I think we're looking at right now is how do we start re-engaging our youngest learners, K1, 2, all the way up. Now, our middle school students, they need those relationships as much as anybody else, but they're also more capable of having some more independent level of work if they're online. But again, that goes back to what our expectations are as a district and as our individual schools. Those expectations must rise. And we did have some challenges during that fourth quarter. Our staff, they did a phenomenal job in putting something together in a very, very short notice. But we learned a lot of lessons as well. And the key lesson that we learned is that we need to increase the rigor and the expectations and the accountability for everyone, from myself on down to our littlest kindergartner. Mm-hmm. And accountability is a tricky word sometimes, but what it means more to me than anything is that we have to raise the level of expectations for ourselves and meet the capacity that we have to serve. And I don't think you'll find a district around anywhere that has done more over the past 4 months to raise those levels of rigor and accountability and also maintain those relationships, because that's what it's all about. When they come back to our classrooms, we need to know who these kids are, we need to know who our families are, and we need to continue to build those connections.
And they've had so much time off of school, you know, and I know that,
yes,
you know, some kids obviously do probably hang out with each other outside of school and whatnot, but from, March until really now, you know, that's a few months off. I mean, I go home from work on a Friday, I come back on Monday, I forget what happened the whole week. I can't imagine going from a full school year to just nothing for a length period. And like you said, building those relationships is really important.
That's right. And a lot of, you know, you look at the summer gap that exists anyways sometimes. You know, kids leave school in May and they come back in August, and sometimes there is that gap for many kids. Some kids are engaged in a lot of extracurricular activities. You know, they might be going to college for kids, they might be going to summer camp, they might have some other enrichment opportunities.
Right.
But for a lot of kids, that gap is a real gap, and they might have to take care of other, you know, younger family members or whatever those situations are. And how do you make that up? And I think that's going to be a real challenge for us. And I think as we have this online learning platform that we've developed, one of the key pieces and the most exciting piece for me is it has an assessment piece to find out where exactly these kids, their gaps have grown, and where we can start filling in and remediating some of those losses. Because those losses are very real. If you think about it, by the time they get back to us, almost be exactly 5 months if we start back on August 17th.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to make up. We're going to have more and more work.
Well, we still got a lot to talk about, and we're going to continue our conversation with Mr. King on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Countywide will be right back.
Do you need more closet space? Hi, I'm Tracy Shadley, owner of Organize A to Z. We provide professional custom design solutions to keep you and your space organized, which helps reduce your stress, increase your productivity, and allows you to take control of your belongings. We are proud to be locally owned and operated, specializing in custom closets, garages, offices, and pantries. Call me today for your free consultation. Organize your space, organize your life.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
With too many senior homeowners falling short in their retirement dreams, there may be great news for you. A reverse mortgage may be the answer. The flexibility it provides may help you with your retirement dreams, peace of mind, and quality of life in your retirement. For your in-home, no-obligation consultation, contact me at 928-225-7418. That's 928-225-7418. Or you can find me at Facebook at Jim Hostler, Reverse Mortgage Specialist.
Hi, this is Lori and Melissa from Sedona Soul Spaces. We are the premier source for all your interior design, decorating, and staging needs.
Every day people ask, why didn't I call you sooner?
Let us use our passion, creativity, and experience to make your life easier.
Don't make costly mistakes. Call us and we will help save you time and money.
We offer full-service interior design, custom furnishings,
complete home staging, turnkey vacation home packages.
Sedona Soul Spaces, creating extraordinary spaces that delight your soul.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo. We are continuing our conversation about reopening with Cottonwood Oak Creek School District Superintendent Steve King. Mr. King, we talked a lot about the online program that you guys are going with, and well, at least for right now, are going to be pushing forward for August 5th, is online learning to get the school year started. So I'll ask this, do you guys have a dedicated staff for your online learning and then a dedicated staff for in-class whenever we get to that point? Yeah. Both? What's the situation with that?
So that's a great question. And that is probably one of the most challenging aspects of what we're facing right now. Right now, all of our teachers are dedicated to the online learning platform. And as our capacity grows to serve within the class, then we'll start to transition those teachers back into the classroom. But we're also looking at our paraprofessionals and our classified staff, all the way down, looking at our bus drivers, looking at our paraprofessionals. It's going to be an all hands on deck kind of situation as we start to make that transition from the online back into in-person school. A lot of things go into that, a lot of training go into that, so a lot of the summer has been spent with our staff and training them on what effective online learning and teaching looks like, how to engage families through the online platforms, how to create lessons as well as assessments to find out through the online to see how we're doing and how the students are doing with those things. So looking at all of our resources, everything is on the table, but we will be starting all online August 5th with all of our staff contributing to that. Now there is an exception to that. One of the things we're looking at right now and working with the state very closely on is with our highest needs learner, our special education students, and we do have a large, significant population of our students with a lot of special needs. And how do you meet them? And online is just doesn't work for too many of them, and one is too many. And so our ability to serve in person, we might be seeing greater flexibility from the state on doing that. And so we're encouraged by that because we do need to continue services to all children. But there are special cases going forward.
You mentioned the bus drivers a little earlier. You guys recently did suffer a tragic loss when one of your bus drivers unfortunately did catch COVID-19, and we want to extend our condolences to the family of that bus driver here at HEWITT Broadcasting. But it does raise a question of, are there protocols in place to protect your bus drivers, to protect your janitorial staff, your support staff, those non-educational staff members? Do you guys have protocols in there to protect them?
So we've been working very closely with the Yavapai County Health Department, as well as the State Health Department, as well as looking at our CDC guidelines, and we're ready to meet those needs going forward. But they are high. Many of our staff members, especially our classified staff members, if you look at our bus drivers, many of them are retired individuals. They're in a high risk category in many ways, and I have deep concerns about their safety. Our janitorial staff has stepped up. Our buildings are clean. Our classrooms, they're ready to go. Our grounds are looking great. We've stockpiled additional cleaning supplies, hand sanitizers. We've installed those shields in front of all of our offices. We have the protocols in place as far as when you're on campus, what the expectations are, as far as keeping your distance from people, working in your classrooms individually, or even wearing masks. If you are on our campus, you're required to wear a mask. and that came down from our district. So we do, and we are looking at all those protocols, and we have those ready to go, and they are in place. But the issue is, I think, not just in our schools, but it's community-wide. And if we want our children back in school, I think we'll all take those measures to help get those kids back in school. But I have deep concerns for the health and safety of our staff as well as our families and children. Well,
as you should. I mean, the number one priority, of course, is making sure that the kids, when the schools are ready to reopen, you can get them in there safely.
That's right.
And then also you've got, like you mentioned, you've got the more elderly staff. There are people who are younger who may not know that they have an underlying condition and get COVID and something happens. So, obviously the safety aspect of it is so big, and there's so much uncertainty right now.
There is.
Where even the August 17th date could get pushed to October, and then that could get pushed again. We just don't know.
We just don't know. And if you look at what's happened in some other countries as far as their reopening of schools, and we're watching all these things very closely. All of our administrative team and many of our staff are looking at what is happening to their countries. And I think a good example or a good one to follow is what's happening in Israel. And back in May, Israel reopened their schools, but they opened them only for the K-2, for the early primary students. They reduced the class sizes. They did some outdoor learning, created those learning environments that were open air in many cases, and they had remarkable success, just outstanding success. And then there was some things that happened. They said, "Oh, since we're seeing this success, let's open up all the schools in their entirety." And they brought back the schools, opened them all at once. Within 2-3 weeks, the schools have become vectors for the virus spreading, and they closed their schools down. What we want to avoid, more than anything, is to reopen our schools and have to close down again. So we want to be very cautious and strategic and deliberate in how we reopen our schools. And we always want to move to our capacity, and our capacity is guided by a lot of different things. It's our staff capacity, it's our family capacity, it's our facilities capacity, and what can we do? And we'll serve to the limits of our capacity. But we always have to recognize that there's a lot of factors. This is a very complex issue. And I've received some emails that just say, just open the schools.
Right.
And that's an easy thing to write in an email. It's not so easy when you have the responsibility for doing that in a safe manner. And as you said before, Phil, and I really appreciate this, there's a lot of unknowns. Mm-hmm. And I've heard, some people say, oh, it doesn't affect children. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it certainly does affect staff. And we do have a lot of staff that are in those compromised ages or having pre-existing conditions. And I do have concerns, and I do have worries, and I do have an obligation to them as well as our students and community to provide the safest possible environment for them.
With those staffing concerns, do you guys have a need for more staffing, for other people maybe to step in who, I don't want to say who aren't as vulnerable, because you guys are not discriminating against anybody, but just, is there a need for more staffing?
So we do always need bus drivers, and that's just not a COVID issue. That has been going on for quite some time. And I think you see that across if you look around the country, there has been a definite shortage of bus drivers. And I will say that we're going to need more when it comes down to it. If you look at what our transportation capacity is and our current CDC guidelines and physical distancing, in many cases we can get 12 students on one of our large buses. Well, that's going to increase runs and how we actually can provide that transportation service. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. But yes, if you're interested in becoming a bus driver, please contact me, and I'd be more than happy to speak with you. It is some of the finest individuals that I've ever worked with in my life in that bus department. J.R. Rowland is our director, and he's an absolutely remarkable human being. He cares deeply about children and families and about his staff.
Well, that's great. It's always nice you guys have a dedicated staff, like you mentioned. A lot of people who are very committed to these kids, very committed to getting them back into school, and in a lot of ways getting them transportation to school.
Yeah.
A lot of kids rely on school, not just for the educational aspect, but for the recreational aspect, for their food, for their social. There's so much that goes into just attending school that is, of course, taken into consideration for the safety of the kids, but there's missing so much.
They are.
And hopefully we'll get to back to reopening and get these kids back in school. But we're going to take a quick break. COCSD.us is the website. The phone number 928-634-2288. If you happen to be a bus driver and you got some time, go and apply and become a bus
Even
driver.
if you're not, we can train. We will train.
But whatever it may be, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep talking with Steve King on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9. Late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Are you struggling to overcome an addiction, depression, insomnia, or a weight problem? Then it's time for you to meet with Dr. Elaine Kissel, award-winning, world-renowned hypnotherapist, author, and mind trainer. Now you can get her help from the privacy and comfort of your own home. Let Elaine Kissel create a personalized hypnotherapy plan to overcome your problem forever. Call 844-4KISSEL now for a discounted evaluation appointment. That's 844-4KISSEL.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to Countywide. We are continuing our conversation about reopening with Cottonwood Oak Creek School District Superintendent Steve King. We've talked about a lot of stuff so far, and we've got a few minutes here. So let me start with this. Do you think the district is going to see an influx of homeschooling? A lot of parents concerned about COVID-19, about sending their kids to school, maybe don't have the resources for the online aspect. Do you think that we are going to see more people going to the homeschool?
It's likely. You know, looking around at our community, and I think you have to look at the totality of what we're seeing. And our area, the Verde Valley, is heavily dependent on our economy as far as service-based industry. And this has hit many families very hard economically. And families will always make decisions based on how they can feed their kids. And if they need to move to do that, then that's exactly what they will do. And so the key for us right now and for our teachers and our staff is reaching out to families and finding out exactly who is in and who we can help right now. Some families, I think, may not have the resources, and that's why we want to provide those resources, either through online. If they need a Chromebook, we'll give them a Chromebook. We're working on getting internet access, which has been a challenge for us as we move forward. There are many parts of our district that just don't have that internet access. So how do we provide those opportunities? Equity is very, very important to me, and all kids deserve a chance moving forward. But how do you create as much equity as possible in such a disturbing time as we're seeing right now? So that could be a possibility. I don't know that, but however many kids that we have, then that's who we will serve. And so I hope it's as many as possible. Right. We want to help all children, but that's kind of another one of those unknowns right now.
We've got about 2 minutes, so let me ask you this to wrap things up. Is there anything that parents can do right now to get ready for this school year, whenever it may happen? Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that they can do right now is they can wait for that phone call from their teacher. And if they have not heard from their teacher or their school, to reach out and say, okay, exactly what is the plan? We're pushing that out to the school level and to the classroom level to make those connections and those relationships. If they need a device, contact our district office. We will get them the device. We are working the hotspots now, and I'm very grateful to the county. Tim Carter is our superintendent of the county, who's helped us tremendously in getting us the resources to actually start getting those hotspots. But even in some areas of our district, the hotspots aren't available. So the city has been very helpful in opening up their Wi-Fi. All of our Wi-Fis are open at our schools. We're looking at as soon as we're allowed to, bringing those small groups of students that could actually benefit the most from it. But I think what families can do right now is to continue to work with their children and recognize that school is the most important thing that we can be doing, and understand and I beg the patience and the grace of many in our community. And we are working very, very hard, and these are very complex issues, and there are no easy answers. And I challenge anyone to find the easy answers to what they are, because I'm certainly looking for them as well. But all schools across, not just in our state or country, but across the world, are looking at these things, and they're looking for the answers, because we need to understand as a community that there is nothing more important than the children and how we serve them. And we have to make, as I say, I've been telling our staff, it's like we have this giant lemon tree in front of us, and we need to start picking these lemons and start making lemonade. And you start with one branch, you start with one lemon, and trying to do as much as you possibly can. And we're all working very, very hard towards that goal.
Well, Mr. King, I want to thank you very much for coming on. Again, cocsd.us is the website. Hopefully we'll get school started on August 5th and August 17th. That has been this episode of Countywide. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again next time.